to a brand new episode here on 1950's Farm. As you can see, we're back on the crawler, but we're back on Harry's farm today. We've borrowed the drill and the crawler from the dairy, and we're cracking on with drilling our soybeans, and it's going very well at the moment. We've got a busy old time of year coming up. We've got the bales there to sort out. They've been out in that field now for a little while. But we've got them to sort out, and we've also got more grass to be mown and bales to be made ready for winter. Like I say, last year the cows did eat quite a bit of hay, but not as much as what I thought they were going to. But this year, obviously, they will breed this year, so food consumption will, sort of go up rapidly. And it's that kind of rapid increase. Basically, it's going to be doubled, or near enough doubled. And so I want to make sure that we've got more than enough in store for next winter. Not only that as well, but our bales are now going to be kept for our farm. Hence the reason why the dairy bought the 2 grass fields, and that should produce them enough hay for a year or a winter, if you like. And yeah, so it's going to be a busy old time, which is good. I like it when it's busy, and I like it when we just keep sort of moving forwards and getting on with the year, and getting on with the farming and stuff like that. So hopefully we should as well at some point in the next couple of 3 episodes once I've cleared those bales to one side, I'm going to put beef stock in there. So Harry started a herd around about 1952, 1953. I think, to be fair, I am a little bit early on that, but in terms of doing it on the save game. But there's no harm in sort of getting that up and running. It's going to be several years before we're going to benefit from that. So as I say, although I am sort of trying to keep it as realistic as possible, or as real as possible, real to real life, at the same time, I sort of I have to also keep things moving, and in terms of sort of content and videos and stuff like that, I have to, sometimes, as I call it, have a little bit of creative license to sort of say, well, this did happen, but maybe so that it gives us another variety of jobs, we'll do this slightly early. I think it's only going to be about a year early from when Harry did it, but like I say, we're not going to benefit from it for the next couple of 3 years. So it's going to make no difference. I don't think personally, but if you guys have a problem, sort of with it and say no, we're keeping it to as what they did, comment below, and that will be done. That's no problem. But as I say, sometimes I have to kind of sort of use my discretion a little bit and think, well, it adds another element of gameplay to what we're doing, so why not? But yeah, so we're getting the old soybeans, as I say, drilled in this field. I just did not in the end get enough time to plough over some of that grass field to the top left there. And one interesting thing that I've started to kind of feel, I don't know whether feel is quite the right word, but one thing that has become apparent to me playing the game compared to the real life is that in real life, Harry and the dairy sort of came to a crossroads, if you like, where Harry was wanting to sort of spend time on his farm, he had the commitments obviously at the dairy because that was where he worked before receiving the grants that he did to to start farming. And the dairy sort of said to him, look, is this really going to work? Because your sort of workload is increasing, our workload is increasing, because I mean, not only did they buy more pasture land, they started to buy more arable land too, and they were really pushing on with their arable side of their business, because their plan was dairy. And in order to have dairy, you need to be able to look after that dairy stock and herds that you have. And I mean, now they are totally self-reliant. The business does not rely on any outward sourced business, whether it be for their produce, whether it be for their food, whether it be for whatever. They are totally self-reliant. And that was, in all the reading that I've done, that was quite adamant, that even as early as sort of 1950, 1952, through the 50s, although they realised it was going to be a very long process, they were already starting to try and become, sort of self-reliant. And of course, to do that, to have the feed, to have the food, for the animals and what have you, and also as well, but to take advantage of the price of food in the 1950s. Now, dairies doing their own yogurts and creams and stuff like that, wasn't really in. And the only way that they made money was selling their milk to the um, the dairies around the area, to supermarkets, and that was how they sort of made their money. But they realised in quite quickly that there was obviously, the government were doing it because there was a shortage of food and supplies. Well, they too realised, well, hang on, if there's a shortage of food, that means the price is going to be high. So, as well as growing their dairy business, they were, rapidly increasing their arable business to try and take advantage of markets that were depleted of the one thing it craved. And soybeans, coins, corn, wheats and stuff like that, were the staple really of a lot of Midwest farms, and probably still is today. I mean, I sort of can't speak from experience, because I'm probably never going to get the opportunity to go out to the US and to kind of see the way. I would love to go out to the US and see the way that farming and farms are operated out there, and what the Midwest is like. As well as sort of other uh, farming belts. But I would imagine that whilst times have changed in terms of obviously machinery and all of that, etc., probably the types of crops being grown in the Midwest probably haven't changed that much. I would imagine that corn, wheat, and soybeans is still the most dominant crops being grown in the area. I mean, I may be wrong, and any of my viewers from the States, that know better than me, please correct in the comments, because I'm interested to see. I mean, I'm always up for being sort of corrected and put right, because it's I'm always interested in knowing what other farms do, and what areas do. But yeah, so as I say, the one thing I've noticed is that I'm spending a lot of time at the dairy. And some of the things that I need to be getting on with, like clearing my bales, and of course today, um, you know, if because I work. I think I may have mentioned it before. I may not have done, but I worked with on the first farm that I worked on. I worked with a guy. His name was Ray, and he had his own small holding, and he also helped out. As I say, he worked for our farm, had his own small holding, and also helped out another farm near to where he lived. And when I was a young boy growing up, I used to go and help him on his small holding. So sort of by the time I was sort of I don't know 14, 15, I was sort of driving tractors and doing whatever. He basically grew daffs for bulbs and stuff like that. I'm not very up on my flowers, but there were other flowers as well. But daffs were the main uh, crop that he grew, and yeah, and I said to him, I said like, how do you do it? How do you work for, like us? Well, at the time I didn't work for the farm when I was a kid. When I asked this question, and he said it's quite easy. He said 20 years ago I couldn't do it because, or it was harder to do because the machinery just didn't have sort of the lighting power to do it. Whereas today's machines, he said like my work lights make it basically daytime, and so therefore I'm able to go to my job during the day and then come home at night and then work my land at night, sort of thing. And it's really interesting, but because back then, these machines, I mean, I know it's daylight, but that's the sum of your work lights, and that. Oh, and you got back ones as well. I didn't realise, but it's not easy, and yeah. So I'm beginning to kind of see where the dilemma between the dairy and Harry was coming from, because as I say, my bales haven't been collected. I haven't ploughed over some of that field. Why? Because I've been looking after doing Harry's jobs. I've tried to sort of do Harry's jobs as well on the dairy. So I've been looking after the animals. I've been, obviously we've been combining, we've been ploughing, because Harry did nearly all of the ploughing on the farm, on the dairy, and yeah, it's just, as I say, it kind of struck me the other day when I was, I can't remember why I was on this farm, or whether I can't remember what I was doing, and it was winter time and I put everything away, and I just kind of sort of thought, I don't have time to work Harry's farm because the dairy is sort of so demanding. The work is just constantly there all the time, um, and so I can kind of see where all that sort of came from and stemmed from. Um, so it's sort of odd how the game has managed to imitate what was going on the real dairy farm, and the pressures that were obviously clearly felt, from Harry. As I say, it was 1952 that Harry's son Hank was born, and as I say, it's odd. It's just odd that the game has managed to, as I say, to recreate real life. But here we are. We're still kind of working. I think on the game, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do the contracting side of things. Um, but what I might do is I might do all of the contracting off screen and still work for the dairy on screen. So basically, the dairy becomes Harry's sort of contracting work, even though that wasn't what happened. But um, just so that, because the dairy offers a really good variety of jobs, but we won't be as our farm increases, our work at the dairy will decrease, as I say, when by the time the sort of late 60s, 70s come in, Harry was, sort of virtually full-time contracting. Apart from his beef stock, apart from, I think it was, I'd have to read back, but going from memory, I think he had sort of like 4 or 5 fields of his own that he used to just grow soybeans on, and he'd have I think it was 2 years of soybeans, followed by a year of wheat, a year of corn. I can't remember but that was how he did it. And as I say, like he sort of became a contractor. Now they farm purely for themselves. So Hank, when he eventually grew up and eventually took over the farm, or certainly had a lot more say in the farm, he changed things quite considerably. That not only were they contracting, which they still do today, they do still do contract work today, but he also realised the sort of the importance and the value of having their own land and having their own sort of land and work to do, because he openly says that he was always afraid that the contracting market would drop out because machinery became far more efficient and needed far less drivers, because machines were doing things in one pass, or machines were wide enough that they were the equivalent of having 3 tractor drivers. He was always worried that farms would take one big tractor, one big cultivator, one big plough, one big drill, and they'd have one man work their farm, and then sort of either contract out the wheat, or what we would call wheat carting, but what Harry refers to in the book as wheat hauling, and sort of contract that out, but not the actual the combine and the tractor work itself. And so he started to sort of kind of, as well as keeping up with the contracts while the work and the money was there, but also as well building his own farms, or so that the family had their own things to do. And today, from what I understand, it's predominantly their own farm that they farm, but they do still help out, and do the odd sort of contracting jobs and what have you. But one expression that I did sort of pick out on and it made me smile was he was very choosy what he did now, which I sort of thought was quite amusing. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to crack on with this, and hopefully we'll get this done today. We should do. I don't see why not. It's not a very big field. The problem that I've got is that I'm beginning to catch him up. So I'm beginning to catch him up. I let him get all the headlands done before I started, because I thought once he starts going up and down, I've got like sort of 2-3 breeds on the headlands to do, and then I shouldn't catch him up. But I didn't realise I'd set him to lands. I thought I'd set him to up and down. So setting him to lands means that obviously he's having to come back on himself a lot, which is, I think, how and why I'm sort of able to catch him up. But it's not a problem. We can slow down. We can even go and just top the drill up if we want to, just to give him a few minutes to get in front again. As one thing at work I used to not hate, but it used to annoy me, especially if the weather was like it is at the moment, where it's sort of raining on and off. So what we would do is we had a 6-meter Amazon front tank mounted seed drill, combination seed drill. And if the weather was like it is at the moment, we would obviously plough and drill, because it's the one way you can keep going. I mean, unless it gets torrentially wet, then you either have to stop, whatever. But if it was just sort of like, it wasn't wet enough to stop the crawlers from going through the field, because 99% of the cultivation work was done by tracks. So the only time I think ever wheel tractors went into the fields was carting, like weeds, veg, sort of stuff like that, rolling, and obviously the sprayers. And again, to just make sure that it was the um, one machine or one machine type that was going through the fields. We didn't have fert spreaders. We just did all of our fert and all of our pesticides and herbicides. Everything was done with the sprayer. And as I say, they had three sprayers. I did notice the other day when I went up to the farm, which was Tuesday, I think, wasn't it? The last time I went, I can't remember now. This week's been a bit of a blur. I think it was Tuesday. I did notice they were out doing a little bit of spraying, and they've got three vent rogattas now, which are very, very nice. But when I worked there, they were Sands sprayers that we had, and were very nice to drive. As I say, I do have my PA1, my PA2, 3 and 4. I don't think they're called PA3 and 4 anymore. I might be wrong on that. I can't remember, or I'm not sure. But yeah, I got my. As I say, I had my spraying license, but again, I wasn't. It wasn't sort of my main job. I just, if again, holidays or illness or whatever, or if they were a bit short or whatever, I could sort of go off and do some spraying, and so it was, probably I ended up probably 2 or 3 times a year, probably, if that. But yeah, so as I say, they had that job, but when drilling, when we were ploughing and drilling in combination, if I started to catch up the plough and had to sit on the end, honestly, I used to drive me insane. I'm not one of these people that can really sit still. I mean, if anything, I would have got out and gone over to whoever was ploughing and sort of rode with them. So at least I was moving, at least I was doing something, even though I wasn't technically doing anything because I was just sat in the passenger seat. But that's what I would have done, because, as I say, I used to hate catching the person in front of me up. Luckily, as I say, although we did do it, it's certainly in December for like winter wheats and stuff. If the ground was a little bit wet or whatever, a little bit wet. Usually, if the vertistat started picking up, it was too wet, and so we'd move on to plough and drill then, and the combination, and that's how we would sort of do it. But yeah, as I say, it used to frustrate the hell out of me when I used to catch them up, because I think, I just want to keep moving. Like, when I'm sat still, we're not, we're obviously not drilling, and I'm not getting my acreage in, because another bonus was that we used to get was you would have, like, you'd be given set targets each week for acreage to be covered, and when we were drilling, they were looking for between I think the most I ever did in 1 week. Well, you are coming down. I thought you was coming down there. The most I ever did in 1 week was 723 acres. But that was working sort of late into the night. But it'd been a wet autumn, and late October, November, it sort of came dry and mild, and Adrian and Stafford was the bloke who owned the farm, and they came to me and said, would you be willing to work late every night until we get caught up? And I said, yeah, no problem. And say me and me cat and me 9 metre vertistat, or their 9 metre vertistat, weren't mine. We did, say, 723 acres in 1 week, which did get me quite a nice monthly bonus. It's very nice. Yeah, I was very happy with that. But anyway, I've yatted on far too long, so I'm going to switch it over to some time lapse now, and then I'll join you at the end when we get this field done, because we're not far from having this field completed now. So I'll see you in a minute. Bye for now. And I'm back. So as we can see, we've nearly done the field, and it's gone really well actually. I'm really pleased with this. I know it's a considerably smaller field than the dairies fields, but it's still gone very well, and it's hopefully going to leave me enough time to do some other stuff before it rains. When I get this field drilled, I am going to end the episode there. I was going to include everything else I was going to do, but not only is memory again running short, but also as well I've got to go to the GPs for a blood test. So I wanted to get this done because, as I said before, I have a fairly tight sort of recording schedule to make sure everything goes out on time. Because my uploading speed is absolutely poo pants, and it's it's a bit of a race to get everything up and converted, and everything like that. But so I will end the as I say, when I get this drilled and get back to the farm, I'll end the episode there. But sort of part 2 of the episode will be sort of the next video where I then carry on. But yeah, so it's gone very well. I'm very happy, very pleased. And as I say, we've got the soybeans in now. Off screen, I'll probably, or off camera, I'll get the field rolled, just because I find rolling really tedious and boring. So, funny enough, I used to like doing it on the farm, but in the computer game, I had to find it a bit kind of. I know there are mods out there but that's not really the way to go. But I sort of persevere with it, but I kind of considered, well, I wouldn't want to sit and watch a video of someone rolling, so as I say, I'll do that off screen. I might even get Courseplay to do it while we do some other stuff. I don't know yet. As I say, we've got those bales to collect, and we've got some grass to be cut in, we've got animals to feed, we've got animals to muck out, we've got animals to put fresh straw in. There's a lot to do. So as I say, I don't think you get punished all that badly by the game if you don't roll at all. I think it's only like a sort of 2 or 3%, is it, or 5%, whatever, sort of decrease in yield. But in 1952, every penny counts, and the only way you're going to get the pennies is by making sure that you're getting the maximum amount of yield. And as I say, we need it because it won't be long before in real life Harry upgrades the farm, and we currently, for the in-game prices, don't have nowhere near enough. And the one thing I'm not doing is I'm not editing money in and cheating money in, so we either earn it or we don't. And yeah, so there's, as I say, there's lots to do. We will take that back. So the cultivator there that you can see on the back of the tractor there, I've bought that off the dairy as well, because the dairy obviously no longer need it because they've got 2 mounted ones. So I bought that. I did exactly the same as I did with the plough. Basically went into the shop and then saw how much the shop was going to give me if I returned it, and then paid that much for the cultivator. I think it worked out about £890, I think it did, or something like that, or 980 maybe. I can't remember now, but yeah. So that's why we've got the plough. As I say, went to the shop, drove all the way there, bought 3 bags of seeds, and we've used, I don't think we used all of the seed. No, we've got 281 litres left. So we did very well. I've left that bloody tractor running. Yeah, so we did very well. But yeah, as I say, anyway, I'm going to leave it here for this episode, guys. Thanks ever so much for watching. Thank you also as well for joining me on this episode and sharing your company with me. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you'll join me again next time for the next episode. And finally, just to say, if you haven't already liked, comment and subscribe, please do. It really helps the channel. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.